Welcome to today's show, Climate Laws, Legally Binding Commitments to Create a Cooler Planet, Part 2 of 2.
Climate change is one of the biggest challenges of our time. It concerns every one of us. Already now we use far more resources and produce far more greenhouse gases than it can handle. If we do not act now, how can our planet meet the needs of 9 billion of us in 2050? The increased production of greenhouse gases that has changed the Earth's climate and atmosphere is of great concern to scientists, politicians, and citizens around the world. Global warming has caused dramatic reductions in seasonal sea ice. The storms, floods, and droughts are intensified by global warming. Although developing countries have contributed the least to climate change, they suffer the most. Small island states in the Pacific are threatened to disappear due to rising sea levels. It's likely that the number of climate refugees will increase in the future. To ensure that the rights and needs of current and future generations around the world are met, we have to deal with climate change now. But how?
In our last episode, we highlighted climate-friendly legislation in the European Union, enacted either collectively or individually by some of its member states. Today, we'll show you how other countries are legally committing themselves to curbing the disastrous consequences of greenhouse gas emissions and rising global temperatures, and what they are doing to put their climate laws into action. With Norway's Climate Change Act 2018, the country aims to become a low-emission society before 2050 by reducing 80 to 95% of its greenhouse gas emissions compared to 1990 levels. An example of its effort to reduce emissions is Norway's leading position in electric vehicle usage. In March 2020, for instance, electric and hybrid cars represented more than 75% of total vehicle sales in the country, paving the way to a cleaner, more sustainable transportation system. The United Kingdom Climate Change Act 2008 requires a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 100% or more based on 1990 levels no later than 2050 and preparation for climate change risks with the aid of a framework to achieve this goal. From 2010 to 2019, a 29% decrease in greenhouse gas emissions was reached, demonstrating the nation's commitment to reducing its carbon footprint, a reduction for 7 years in a row to levels not seen since 1888. Moreover, Scotland's Climate Change Act 2019 seeks to reduce national emissions of greenhouse gases to net zero before 2045, a goal considered to be second to none in the world. This legislation also includes an annual target for each year until emission reduction reaches 100% of its 1990 to 1995 baseline. The country is taking measures toward decarbonization by supporting the public sector and engaging with industry and business, apart from working with local communities and developing nations in addressing climate change. New Zealand is among the most dedicated climate law nations in committing to become a net zero carbon emitter by 2050. The National Climate Change Response Act 2002, as amended by Climate Change Response or Zero Carbon Amendment Act 2019, requires a reduction in national net emissions of all greenhouse gases, excluding biogenic methane, to zero by 2050. The Act also sets targets for biogenic methane emissions from agriculture and waste. a 10% drop before 2030, and a 24% to 47% reduction no later than 2050, contrasted with 2017 levels. There is progress occurring in the country concerning climate change mitigation, as its net emissions shrank 3% in 2018 in comparison with the levels of previous years. Also, the government is working with indigenous groups to preserve the original lands and waters, such as the Whanganui River, Mount Taranaki, and the Te Urevera area, which are legally protected and respected, thus granting the people a basic human right. Mexico is another nation working to create a cooler planet. Its general law on climate change, passed in 2012, commits to a 50% reduction in the country's greenhouse gas emissions by 2050 compared to year 2000 levels. The country has cut gasoline subsidies, invested in clean energy, which reached an impressive 500% growth rate in 2017, and increased its clean energy generation from 26% in 2012 to 30% in 2017 through the use of solar and wind energy, which more than tripled during this period. Compassionate viewers, we'll now take a brief pause for a constructive message and return right after. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Warning: you might find the content here disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
Tolerant friends, welcome back to our show. By now, we all recognize the importance of enacting climate laws and of pursuing related actions to protect not only human beings but also the environment and our animal friends. But is there anything else that international leaders and governments can do to help our world become free of activities that are not in harmony with the moral and ethical principles? Our beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai has the answer.
I guess you know already what to do. I do hope. I do see some very little tiny baby steps toward the benevolent word of veganism. Or at least many nations are helping other less fortunate nations and some needy people around the world, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Thank God and bless you. Our world has become better, that's for sure. But now we have one more step to go, the vegan step. Then all will be perfect. You will see. All will be peaceful. Everyone will relax, happy, happier than now, more peace than now. It could be paradise too. But you're still thinking about it, about what to do, to have a vegan law, to tell everyone to be vegan and done away with all meat, eggs, milk, fish. When I say meat, I mean fish also, and whatever that moves. And even eggs are no good for us. Also involved a lot of killing. And raising animals of any kind is making our planet climate change worsen because of the methane and all kind of economical related problem. You are thinking hard. Maybe that's why you try also very hard to avoid the most lethal enemy of our world, the one that causes the degradation of our human status, causes death by billions of humans and animals, maims, disables other billions of lives, and continues to do so every day. But there's no time to think now. Please do act quickly. We must stop all this. We are a civilized race of beings, intelligent race of beings. It's 21st century. Many masters comes and go, teach us benevolence and kindness to all beings. We cannot continue massacring other beings or humans. You have the power to stop all this. You have the privilege to implement vegan law. No more animal-related suffering businesses. Zero pain, agony for all beings, humans and animals. And animal laws is the best. Animal protection law meaning vegan law. No more causing any harm, any pain, any fear to animals. Because kindness will beget kindness. And compassion will beget compassion. Mercy will beget mercy from heaven. As you sow, so shall you reap. The Bible states that. All the main religion of the world states that. And this vegan law is the most effective way to save our world. Because you know well, by now, by UN warning, by scientific research report, we know that the meat, fish, eggs, milk, laboratory tests on animals, leather industry, anything to do with hurting animals, domestic or wild, are detrimental to our world. We talk about all kinds of climate reduction or reducing air pollution, but animal raising, fish, egg, milk industry, etc., anything to do with animals are the worst producers of lethal methane gas, which heats up our planet. So, stopping these brutal, murderous businesses is the fastest way to cool our earth. Our climate is accelerating. Our world is in danger. But you seem to still go around forever in a circle, maybe still thinking of what to do. You mention anything, but not the center target. We target many other areas, but not the center point. Just like scratching outside of the thick socks does not relieve the itch. By now, scientists have warned us x times, many times, repeatedly, by evidence, that vegan is the best, most effective way to reduce global warming. Reducing or stopping climate change, stabilizing it, is good for all of us, humans and animal tenants. Yes, we are just tenants of this world house. No right to damage it without being fined heavily.
We thank you immensely, Supreme Master Ching Hai, for once again presenting the quickest and easiest way to save our world. It is clear now that veganism is the best solution to our climate crisis. Wise viewers, our two-part series on climate laws has now concluded. It was a pleasure having your kind company today.